Reverse Function Saga Chapter 11. Dream Sequence Forward U.S. Air Force Virtual Reality Hybrid Research Beta Ep.2, 22 Jan 2021. I made my way toward the front door, following a walkway filled with potholes, every inch of it covered in weeds. Garbage and junk was stacked up a few feet high. The front door was half open. I went in, and what I saw was the total opposite from the outside. The interior of the mansion had been kept pristine. The leather sofas, imported carpets, tea tables, and paintings were unsullied in appearance. There were spiral stairways decorated with ultra-expensive carpets and gold-plated wooden handrails. Chandeliers brightened the interior. I reread the instructions: get rid of the critter infestation. In the middle of the main room, there was one 5-foot ladybug, one 7-foot-long rainbow-colored koi, and 3-foot-high vultures sharing a cup of tea in front of the fireplace. I went over and stood in their midst, introducing myself. Player 2501. With one shot, 3 kills to my name, I am the most affordable long-range sniper and hand-to-hand combatant for hire. The koi put down its teacup and said softly, "Welcome, guest. Cup of tea." The ladybug and the vulture placed their teacups on the table with much etiquette. The ladybug said, "We insist you join us in a cup of tea." The vulture said, "Choose your words and deeds wisely." I sat between the ladybug and the vulture. A cup of tea appeared in front of me. I accepted it and took a tiny sip, then said, "Let's cut the horseshit. My employers want me to clear out an infestation of critters from this house." Goodness. Show us this infestation of critters, and we'll help you clear them out, the koi said. I studied them and their demeanor, then turned my attention to the interior. If there was a critter infestation here, it wasn't in the interior, and since these 3 creatures displayed etiquette, they weren't the critters mentioned in the description. Outside, beyond the front door, hoarding a bunch of junk, the 2 elderly people in wheelchairs fit the description of the critters. I excused myself from these 3 very polite creatures, exited through the front door, and stood tall before the couple in wheelchairs. I studied their appearance. They were dressed in rags with messy hair, and their body odor smelled like unwashed ass. Their hands and other parts of their bodies were soiled, and their facial hair started and ended somewhere on their skinny bodies. Their wheelchairs were makeshift with wheels from bicycles and roller skates. Get rid of those critters. We want our home back, the woman in a wheelchair said. The man in a wheelchair said, "And make it quick." I excused myself, then walked around the mansion twice. There were potholes and trash stacked several feet high. Wild vegetation engulfed everything outside the mansion. Back at the front door, I compared the exterior of this mansion to the exteriors of the other mansions nearby. Every other mansion's exterior was pristinely kept up. They had walkways and driveways without potholes. Their landscaping was beautifully crafted and had been kept up by professionals. Every inch was perfectly clean and trimmed. Flowers sprouted in perfect unison within the gardens. I went back inside the mansion and sat between the ladybug and the vulture. A new cup of tea appeared. I accepted it. After taking a sip, I asked, "Those two folks outside in wheelchairs, who are they?" The vulture said, "Uninvited guests. They rifle through our trash cans. We've tried to get rid of them. Thus far, it has been futile. Exterminators stopped their infestation for a while, but as time passed, the infestation returned. Only this mansion is infested." "Why?" I asked. "Anyone's guess," the koi said. The ladybug added, "They attach themselves to unknown properties. Whatever those things may be, we would gladly surrender to them if that would make them disappear forever." I went back to the infestors and asked, "Why not infest other mansions?" The woman in the wheelchair said, "You assume we're infestors and not those critters inside. If you believe their cunning words, then they could sell you the moon on a stick. Don't believe their shrewd words," the wheelchair-bound man said. I needed advice, therefore, I logged out of the mission scenario and out of the playing fields. I needed a few days to reflect. The next time I logged on, I sought out advice from the most unlikely of allies, the Seven Springs Giants. In their own region, I talked to the same three giants that had helped me witch Bookie's Lost Relic quest. And of course the giants wanted fair compensation. The giants were fitted with complete suits of armor with spiked clubs for weapons. All three stood well over 10 feet, and they guarded the only entrance to the Seven Springs region. The middle giant said, "How will we Seven Springs giants be compensated?" I offered, with 1% of the fair market value of a level 10 Infinity Cast card, once my employers make payment. The middle giant shrieked, "Player 2501 isn't serious. I demand 3% of the fair market value of a level 10 Infinity Cast card." "Okay, 3% with unlimited consultations until the mission is over," I counteroffered. The giant on the left-hand side said, "Let's get started. Enough of this gibbering." I explained to them in great detail my employer's intentions. I read to them multiple times the job descriptions and scenarios Limit encountered at the Quest's mansion and among its characters and settings. The giant stood tall and in silence, thinking for several seconds. The giant on the right said, "One moment." The three giants poked their heads together and whispered something, occasionally. Reverse Function Saga Chapter 11. Dream Sequence 4 at US Air Force Virtual Reality Hybrid